Hey, welcome back. Wow, we've had a busy morning so far, and got a lot more to do here. And very pleased now to bring on a great friend of the program, someone doing tremendous work for the state of Louisiana up in Washington, D.C. Our own United States Senator John Kennedy joining us here in the Ringside Hotline. Senator, good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you, man?
Hey, doing great. Welcome aboard. Good to hear from you, and so much to talk to you about. We'll try to squeeze in as much as possible.
Okay.
Senator, I have to say I enjoyed reading your op-ed the other day with Jeff Landry. I thought it was right on target. I've written my own op-ed about this, quote, criminal justice reform, and I think it's really a dangerous direction that we're going. I think maybe some of the purposes of some of the folks involved were honorable, but I think the results have been pretty disturbing. Wanted to see if you could maybe expand on that a little bit.
Well, what the governor's done is not really reform. I mean, he's just letting criminals out, and he says he's going to save money and spend the money on the prison system. I support giving people second chances, but you've got to be careful who you let out. I mean, not everybody's in Angola for smoking a joint. Some of them are dangerous people, and we've seen that the Department of Corrections, based on what's happened in the last number of years, has just demonstrated their incompetence time and time again. The FBI is crawling over the place. And I just think that the governor's going to get somebody killed here. I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't. I just don't have any confidence in his approach, Jeff.
Well, look at what's already happened, Senator. I think 76 of these people have already been arrested again. So other people have been victimized because these folks have been released from prison.
Well, actually, it's more than that. And look, some of them are going to come back. We know that. But I just don't have any confidence in the Department of Corrections in terms of deciding who to let loose. The legislative auditors just did a report of the Department of Corrections, and the legislative auditor found that the Department of Corrections doesn't even know where 11% of their inmates are. In other words, they know they're in the system somewhere. They just can't tell you exactly where. Now, that doesn't give me a lot of confidence in their ability to decide who gets out and who doesn't. I'm also told that the criterion that they're using in part to let these folks out is their last offense. Well, you know, if somebody's committed 10 armed robberies and then is convicted for having marijuana, if you decide you want to let him out, you don't just look at the marijuana conviction.
Right.
You look at the armed robberies as well.
We're visiting with Senator John Kennedy with us. 504-556-9696 is a talk line. Senator, I saw a recent interview of yours where you talked about what's going on with socialism and communism, and you made a point that folks, if they want to see how these systems work, just to go to North Korea. And speaking of North Korea, we've got this meeting now that may happen between the president and the dictator there. Your thoughts on that?
It doesn't hurt to talk, but Kim Jong-un is an evil person. He's also got a bad haircut, but that's another story. You would think that if he owned all the money in the country, he could find a better barber. But nobody trusts him, and we shouldn't.
Yeah.
You couldn't trust his father. You couldn't trust his grandfather. I mean, the guy killed his. I think he killed one of his brothers his uncle. He killed his uncle with a missile, and he poisoned his half brother. I don't know that he's crazy. I think he's just evil. Now,
right?
We've got to take a very firm stand. Look, cowboy, you can't have a nuclear weapon. It's just that simple. And if he wants to persist, we need to ratchet up the sanctions even more. The sanctions are starting to hurt. He wouldn't be coming to the table otherwise. But we still have a lot of cheating. There There's some folks in Russia that help him cheat. There's still some people in China that help him cheat. The sanctions are tougher than they were, but we need to starve him out. And when you're dealing with a guy like this, when you get him down, you don't let him up. You choke him. You keep choking him.
Well, I've got confidence in the president's negotiation abilities, and I think we've seen a different approach with Kim Jong-un than we've seen, or whatever his name is pronounced. Maybe it's Kim Jong-un, but he just seems to be so diabolical, Senator. So, in the past, we've given him a lot of leeway, and he's taken advantage, and his father and grandfather have taken advantage of the U.S. I just don't think they're going to take advantage of President Trump.
Well, I don't think the president will let him take advantage of us. I mean, I'm used to speaking with him. Depending on the circumstances, I'm not sure it ought to be the president at the start. I'm not sure I want to give him the status of being able to talk to the president of the United States. Now, that's up to the president. He may insist on talking to him. I just think we need to be careful with the guy. Don't trust him.
I agree.
I don't think the president trusts him either.
Let's talk about the new bill that you've introduced, Senator, on net neutrality. That's been a hot-button issue. I've had so many people contact me wanting to know your position on that, and really saying how important it was. Tell us a little bit about the bill, if you could.
Well, the bill's a starting point. I mean, if you go talk to any member of the United States Senate, but they'll always start out by saying, if you're talking about neutrality, is, boy, we sure do need a bill. We really need. I said, I'm going to do a bill because what's happening is that the rules keep changing under the FCC, and business people need some sort of certainty to plan around. But nobody ever introduces a bill. And so I said, okay, I'm going to introduce a bill. It's a starting point. It would tell our internet service providers, some of which are content providers as well, so the lines are blurred, but it would tell our cable companies, if you will, look, you can't throttle, you can't block. If somebody wants to go to a website, you got to let them. This isn't China. You've got to be fully transparent in what your policies are. It would preempt state law, so we would have one national standard for internet freedom. I didn't put in anything, Jeff, about prioritization.
Mm-hmm.
You have fast lanes or slow lanes. I didn't do that on purpose because that's something I want to negotiate with my Republican colleagues and with our Democratic friends. But I mean, I think it preserves the concept of net neutrality, which I support. Now, the wingnuts on both sides think it either goes too far or doesn't go far enough, but you're not going to make them act. I mean, you just aren't. I mean, what the wingnuts on the left want is to allow government to regulate prices on the internet, and I don't agree with that. What the wingnuts on the right want is just to complete free enterprise, no regulation. I don't support that because someday we might be able to support that once we develop 5G speed and technology. But right now, I think something like 48% of rural Americans and 52% of urban Americans have only one choice of an internet service provider. They've only got one choice for a cable company. So if the cable company can do whatever it wants and it jacks the rates through the roof, a lot of people can't afford it. And the internet's like water and electricity. It's a necessity.
Well, we'll be following it. What's the timetable on that, Senator?
Well, the next step is to vote on what's called a CRA. As you know, the FCC repealed the former FCC's net neutrality rule. There will be a bill to overturn that and go back to the old net neutrality rule, which I think goes too far. But there are 50 votes to overturn the current rule, and they need one more to pass it. So the next step's going to be to vote on the CRA. I don't know how I'm going to vote on the CRA. I don't like my either-or choice, but and there's some good arguments on both sides.
I know we have limited time with you, Senator. I want to squeeze in a few more other quick issues, and we have a call or two I want to try to squeeze in with you. One about judges. Been doing a little research with some colleagues. Seems like with the number of vacancies are growing, and I'm concerned about whether the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, is moving this quickly enough. Are you satisfied with the speed with how things are going?
Well, McConnell's move, I can tell you, it is the top priority for Senator McConnell. He's putting judicial nominations ahead of President Trump's nominations to run his government. Because, we just need to get it done. There are a lot of vacancies. I think the vast majority of the people that President Trump has sent to us are very capable. They're qualified. They're not haters. They just understand the role of a judge, and that is to interpret the law and not make it. The problem we're having, Jeff, is not McConnell. The problem we're having is that the Democrats throw up every single procedural obstacle that they can.
Right.
For example, we'll bring up a district court judge nominee, and we'll ask the Democrats if we can go ahead and vote. They say no. So we've got to invoke cloture. Well, after you invoke cloture, which ends debate, you still got to wait 30 hours. So we go to the Democrats and say, look, okay, we invoked cloture. Would you waive the 30 hours so we can go ahead and vote up or down? They go, no. So, 4 days have passed. And then we bring the district court judge up for a vote, and he passes, 70 to 30. And a lot of the Democrats vote for him. So
right.
why do they want to object? Because they just want to slow things down.
Yeah, and that's the obstacles that you face. And I can tell you, though, I think the work is so important, Senator, with these judges, because you know how important it is. You've seen what's happened to the president with some of his major parts of his agenda getting thwarted in court. Some of these judges, I think, are scary, these left-wing judges that are out there. So we need some good people with good common sense on the bench. So I'm glad to hear that you're optimistic about what Senator Majority Leader McConnell is doing.
Well, I sit on Judiciary Committee, Jeff, as you know, and I tell you what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody who's smart, somebody who's experienced, somebody who's honest. I don't want a hater. I want somebody who'll call the balls and strikes. I don't want somebody who sees it as his or her role to read certain policy decisions into the Constitution. I don't want an activist judge, and by activist judge,
right.
I'm talking about somebody who decides to change the Constitution every Thursday to prosecute an agenda that they can't get by the people, pass Congress with it, so they just go to the judges and say, you make the law. I don't think that's what our founders intended.
I agree. I believe that the founders were brilliant people. I believe that we've been blessed to have this Constitution. I don't believe that it is this ever-changing, living, breathing document. Do you?
No. I think in every instance that it's possible, what we need to look at is the founders' original intent. Now, sometimes that's hard to discern. But you can look at sort of the spirit of a provision in terms of what you think the founders intended. Obviously, the founders never contemplated the issue of privacy in the Internet, for example.
Right.
But I think they did contemplate people's right to individual dignity and the right to their own privacy, particularly vis-a-vis government.
No doubt. Let's squeeze in a quick call here for you, Senator. Our good friend Brian in Metairie is with us. Hey, Brian, welcome. Good morning.
Mr. Crouere, good morning to you and the Senator. Senator, there's an American citizen whose only crimes is that he's a Christian and he married a Venezuelan woman, is being held in a Venezuelan prison. He's not getting any medical care. He's in critical condition, and he's very, very, very sick. He's not getting any help, and I'm just wondering, do you know about this? And if you could please contact the State Department and find out how much are they doing to try to free this man before he dies, like that citizen that was held in North Korea. Very, very serious. This was brought to my attention by a Venezuelan missionary who's in the United States right now. I was hoping maybe you could find something out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian.
Send me the information. I would be glad to get in touch with the State Department, and then we can get in touch with the officials that will still talk to us in Venezuela. I mean, Venezuela is going to implode for all practical purposes. It's certainly a socialist country, and people are starving to death in Venezuela. They've got like 1,000% inflation. I mean, it's a horrible situation.
It really is. And Brian, get that information to the senator, and I know the senator's great team. We'll check into that. And thank you, Senator, for committing to do that, because that sounds like a really tragic story. And before we conclude with you, I want to encourage you to consider running for governor. I'm really concerned about the agenda of John Bel Edwards. And someone told me the other day, oh, well, he's going to win a second term. And I'm like, well, no, that can't happen. So is it something you're thinking of, something that might happen?
I'm thinking about it, Jeff. I mean, I don't think Governor Ed about it every day, and I really appreciate the kind words. I am thinking seriously about it. I hadn't made a decision. It's too early, frankly, and I've got my hands full right now in the U.S. Senate. I like Governor Edwards personally. I've known him for a while. We just disagree. I mean, I believe in more freedom. He believes in more free stuff. And Governor Edwards honestly believes that the only problems in the world are those that the government didn't spend your tax dollars on. And he honestly believes, at least he's sincere. He's wrong, but he's sincere. He believes he can tax us into prosperity. He's made no effort whatsoever, none, zero, zilch, nada, to try to control spending. He just asks for more and more and more money. And he wants us basically to, I see this a lot in Washington, D.C. Some of these people just think, well, we're smarter than everybody else in America, so you give us all you can. We'll make the decisions for you. And I just don't agree with that. I just think that people can spend the money they earn better than government, all things being equal. And the bigger government, our founders knew this. They knew that government has an unerring tendency to grow, and you've got to keep it in check. And it starts with keeping them in check on the money. And John Bel just, he gets upset because the legislature won't go ahead and pass more taxes. And he's mad at Speaker Barra and Chairman Henry and Representative Harris. Heck, I'm proud of them.
Yes.
They stood up to him. And everybody knew the legislative session was just another effort by John Bel to get more money out of people's pockets.
Well, I've been letting people know we've had 5 of these things, Senator. I think they cost about $1 million each. So that's a big waste of money right there to have all these special sessions. And we're going to need another one, he says, after the regular session is over.
And you've got certain members of the media who are egging him on. They just basically think that government ought to run things and make all our decisions for us. And they keep printing, stories about John Bel the Invincible. But I don't think people buy it. I mean, I know they don't. Based on the poll numbers I've seen, they clearly think the state is headed in the wrong direction. And frankly, we are. The fundamental problem is that our state government is growing faster than our economy.
Right.
It ought to be the other way around.
Well, you've got a son about the same age as my daughter, and I'm sure you'd love for your son to be able to stay in Louisiana. I'd love for my daughter to be able to stay in Louisiana, but we got to turn things around to create some opportunities for them here so that they can stay.
Well, if we keep losing people in Louisiana, Jeff, the average age before we know it's going to be deceased. I mean, and these bright young kids, like your daughter, who's precious. I mean, they have options, and you look around. If they can't find a job here worthy of their talents, they'll head, and I can't blame them. They'll go to Denver, or Dallas, or Atlanta, and we ought to be creating those jobs here.
Right.
And we ought to be worried more about people's budgets and businesses' budgets and the state budget. I mean, basically, what Governor Edwards stands for, he wants every one of us to cut our budget, including businesses, and pay more in taxes, so the state doesn't have to get control rather of its budget. And it ought to be the other way around.
Definitely.
It's not like we're running out of money. It's $29 billion. When Governor Blanco was governor, the budget was $16 billion. So it's almost double.
And that's a great point. And guess what hasn't doubled? Our population. And we're one of only 8 states to lose population, Senator. You know that. And our budget keeps growing. So something is seriously wrong with what's going on in Baton Rouge.
Well, look at it this way. The governor keeps talking about, you look at the numbers. Okay. Louisiana is not a wealthy state. We rank 43rd in per capita income. We're in the bottom 10. We rank 23rd and first in the South in state and local spending per capita. And that's not all federal money. He must look at the numbers. You made a valid point. We've gone from a $16 billion budget to a $29 billion budget. Why? We haven't added more people. Inflation's been well under 2%.
Right.
They just don't make any effort whatsoever to control spending.
Well, that's got to change, and I think really you would be wonderful as governor. I've always thought that, and I hope you give it serious consideration. And listen, I'd love to support you. I really would.
I'm just proud of our House Republicans. I mean, Crouere and Henry and Harris, and I shouldn't start naming people because I'll leave them out. But they're my heroes, man. They need to just keep doing the right thing.
Well, we'll keep supporting them, and we'll be following it closely. And Senator, thanks for your time.